Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. I like Rescue Ace. I think it's a really cool deck. I actually played him this week at Locals. I didn't do amazing with them. It feels like I'm struggling a little bit with maintaining consistency in the deck. I find myself in a good amount of hands that either with one hand trap or even the hand itself just literally couldn't even get to Turbulence. That's when you know you're in trouble consistency-wise. But I do think, even though the deck I still think is just okay right now, I think it's decent. It takes a huge step forward in the next set. I think there are a handful of different things. I think there's an engine in the main deck you probably have to be playing, and some huge extra deck cards that actually make a big difference as well to focus on that really give the deck a buff in terms of consistency, in terms of utility, and its ability to even make plays even if you don't resolve Turbulence. It's really, really important. So let's get into it. We're going to zoom through this. This is just what I have right now for this list. I feel pretty good about it, especially with the experience I got this week. Gave me a good idea of what I wanted to see here. So let's run through it. Starting off with the Rescue Ace monsters. This lineup's nothing too crazy. Slight differences here than I've been playing or I would play right now. Triple Airlifter, obviously. He's your one card combo guy. He gets you to Emergency, and Emergency gets you to Turbulence. Turbulence is a +4. Whoop-de-doo. We're rocking. 2 Hydrant. I actually think with the new stuff, you actually don't need 3 Hydrant. You have ways to get him back from Banish. You have ways to get him back from Grave. I don't really see a ton of scenarios where you would need to grind through to a third one like that. I think 2 is totally fine, especially with all of the access we'll have to this card going forward. Definitely not mandatory at 3, but I still like him at 2. You still want to get access to him consistently. I just don't think he's a mandatory 3 anymore. 3 Impulse, you got to play it. It's just too good. Sometimes you even have hands where you don't even do anything going first turn 1 because you just have Impulse and nothing else in hand, and you just combine Impulse with like hand traps, and you stop your opponent, Impulse gets your engine going, and you end up playing on the next turn and running away with the duel. It works. One each of the extender guys, a Fire Attacker and Fire Engine. I think with the new engine and support stuff, you don't need to feel as obligated to play more of these. You can brick on them if you don't see a starter as well. So just 1 and 1. These are totally solid. They're good cards that you just don't need to max out on them. They give you good utility to summon off of Impulse. Then 2 Preventer and 2 Turbulence. This is super standard. These are your like main deck boss monster boys. He's like your steady one. He's your giant ceiling one. Set 4, win the duel kind of card. Both really good. So kind of cutting down to only like 14 monsters. I cut down 1 Fire Engine and 1 Hydrant to kind of make room for the other engine here. And that's the Diabellstar engine, or the Sinful Spoils engine, if you want to call it that. This is the mandatory monster you have to play for the engine. You could technically play more of this card, but you don't want to brick on too many cards from this engine. It's a 5-card engine. None of those 5 cards are bricks, so you can just go ahead and keep doing what you're doing. There's no bad draw from that engine. They all kind of do to get you where you want to go. No complaints. But with this card, it can send any card from your hand or field to grave to summon itself. That does not activate, so it doesn't start a chain, but when it's summoned, it can search a Sinful Spoils Speller Trap. Sets it, actually, directly from the deck. So you can either get another copy of the search card, which can just add the Diabellstar from grave back to hand, allowing you to essentially just keep grinding, or you can get Snake Eye, and Snake Eye just will get you to draw Hydrant. We'll talk about that in a second. For just defensive cards, I think I have 10 defensive slots in this deck with the new engine. I'm cut down a little bit. I'm down to 10. Normally I look for about 12 in this deck, but I still think 10's decent. Triple Ash, Triple Droll, and down here, Triple Imperm, and then 1 Tactics. Those are the 10 defensive cards. It's fine. Moving into the spells, obviously 3 Emergency, amazing. 1, 1, and 1 of the other 3 spells. You only need 1 of those, 3 utility. And then the rest of the Sinful Spoils engine here. 3 Hunter Fiend. This card just adds a Diabellstar monster from deck or graveyard to hand. That's huge because that's what makes it really important that your Diabellstar is a 1-of in the deck, because you can just get it back from grave anyway in the grind if you want to just keep rotating. Summon her again. Get you a search. Plus, this card is a really broken second effect. So this card says, during your main phase, you can banish this card from grave to target one of your Sinful Spoils Speller Traps that is banished or in grave. Place it on the bottom of the deck, then draw 1 card. So The idea of this is that you can, once you've used Snake Eye, so like you would start with this, right? Search Diabellstar, summon Diabellstar, set Snake Eye, use Snake Eye to get Hydrant and get your Rescue Ace engine online, and then your Hunter Fiend can banish itself to put Snake Eye back in the deck and draw one card. So it gets you a draw, and it goes ahead and puts this card back. So if you're going to play with the Diabellstar engine going forward, and you're able to, get into stuff and get these triggered, get these searched and set again and rotate, you can get this again, get Hydrant again, and just keep rotating that way and keep grinding, which is really, really cool. It's quite good. And again, there's something just so satisfying to me as a control player, because this is a 5-card splashable engine with no bricks. You can just draw Snake Eye, and it just generically sends one other face-up card you control to summon a level 1 fire. So you just need to control any card and summon Hydrant straight out of the deck. That's really good, because when Hydrant's your normal summon, it's just kind of mid unless you draw it with another extender, like Emergency or one of the summoning guys, one of the extender guys. But if you're summoning it not on your normal summon, then he searches Airlifter, normal Airlifter, Airlifter gets you Emergency, and you are kind of off to the races from there. It's really cool. So yeah, no complaints, like 5 cards, none of them are a brick. I love it. Rhoda's in here, of course. You got to play it. You've just got 2 really good Rhoda targets. No complaints. 2 Prosperity. I don't think this card's nearly as crucial because of the boost you get just from like the Sinful Spoils engine as far as consistency goes. But post-side and even pre-side, just being able to dig for like certain things that you're looking for still does matter. And the extract's not super crucial. There's some cards that are, that become really good in the next set, but not, you can work around it. The 1 Tactics, of course, and then, of course, the Contain and the Extinguish. I'm not on the other one. We'll talk about that in the side deck. Into the extra. Now, this is not a super, super tight extra. This is one of those decks where there's probably 10 to 12 cards that you want to play, and then from there, there's a couple slots you can kind of play with utility-wise. If there's something, if you want to play Super Poly in the mainer side, feel free to find room for some Super Poly targets if that's really good in the format. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries type stuff. You could find room for some anti-meta type cards for sure. But starting off here for the Link 1s, Almirage, this comes up. It's a fire Link 1 that can like clear Hydrant, so that way you can use it as a fire to make some of the Link 2s that require a fire. Link Rebo, just a 1. And then Anima. I think I'd make room for Anima with the new support, especially Little Knight, because it pairs pretty well. Being able to like threaten a negate or an interruption with Anima, and then if they leave the Anima on field, then being able to link the Anima off for Little Knight to then actually clear something and have like a really annoying piece of interaction your opponent has to deal with going forward is really nice. Still love Sunlight Wolf, especially with Ash Blossom in the deck. Being able to get Ash back to hand is crazy. Also being able to add back stuff like your Impulse and then just have Impulse for the next turn as a hand trap. Really, really cool as well. This guy's interesting. We don't have him yet in the TCG. He can just add any banished fire monster back to hand. You can't use its effects for that turn, but like, again, Ash or Impulse, if they end up banished, just grab one back. Actually, technically any Rescue Ace, and then just you grind, right? Save it up. So, kind of cool. I don't know if it would really come up over Sunlight Wolf. They're kind of, made from the same cloth for sure. Cut from the same cloth here, but interesting. That's definitely one of the slots you could mess with. Hita, I just think with Konami going so hard on all this fire support as of late, whether it's the mirror match, whether it's another fire deck that's doing well, Infernoble, weird stuff like that, Hita could come up for sure. 2 Masquerena and 2 Little Knight. So you definitely have to play 1 Masquerena. I don't think 2 is mandatory. That's definitely a slot you can mess with, but I do kind of like the idea of double Little Knight. It now just becomes like the best generic removal tool in the game. Plus, this is also now like by far the best thing you can do if all you open is Hydrant. If you hard open Hydrant and it's your normal summon, let's say whatever it is, Emergency gets ashed or, you know what I mean? You just don't open anything else engine-wise. You're opening Ashes, you're opening Drolls, you're opening Imperms, whatever. You know what I mean? You get ashed on Rhoda, you get ashed on Prosperity, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Just normal summoning Hydrant before didn't really do anything, right? You could make like Sunlight Wolf and you could add back your Preventer and have Preventer ready to play next turn. But now what you would do is you go normal Hydrant, link it off for, doesn't really matter, I don't think. I guess Almirage. Then you could use, oh no, that actually doesn't work like I want it to. Huh, it's a little awkward actually, because IP Masquerena can't be made with a Link monster. I'll actually have to think about that, because that is a little bit awkward. A little more awkward than I thought it was, at least initially. But long story short, if you make IP Masquerena with another monster, then you can make SP Little Knight on the opponent's turn, banishing a card, and then it's another like interruptive card from there. It's really good. And even just as like a utility card, as you're playing into an opponent's board going second, make SP Little Knight to banish a card, and then it's an annoying interaction they have to deal with for the rest of the duel. It's legitimately good card. I think they're both really good. Looking at it now, because I actually think Rescue Hydrant isn't a one-card combo in a Masquerena, you probably don't need to play two, but still, just something to keep in mind. You definitely still play at least one, and then one Little Knight, if not two. Unicorn's in there. If you don't want the banish off of Little Knight, Unicorn can still be really useful. Access code, it's access code. Sometimes when you need to just push for game, he works. This week, actually, I played and I didn't have him in the extra, and I had like 2 separate duels where he would have just won me the duel on the spot, and instead I had to grind for a long-ass time. It's very annoying. Proxy Knight and Mud Dragon, I still might play these. Just for the opportunity where you can kind of spam the board before you ever get to Turbulence, so that way you can keep your opponent from targeting Turbulence, because otherwise you can't be ashed, doesn't care about Droll. As long as they don't have Nib, you're now protecting yourself from like Imperm Veiler as well, and like there's no hand traps that are like interacting with you at that point aside from Nib, so really good. And then I'd play a copy of this guy, Stellar Nemesis Typhon. This is just like a mid-rangey, control-y type deck, so this card is so immensely good in those types of decks. It's a cool card. I think any deck that's like slower, you play this card. And then for the side, it's not actual side deck stuff, but it's stuff I wanted to mention. Actually, some of it could be. Reinforce, I just don't love this card. It doesn't interact with the opponent. It just makes your board a little more sticky and hard to deal with. It does offer some grind potential, but I don't know. The card just seems mid, and plus, every time I open one of these traps, I'm not happy about it. So why would I add a third that I don't even feel like is that impactful anyway? Any of these cards. So these are actually other Sinful Spoil cards that you could be playing. I probably wouldn't main them, because then they become bricks. Because if you open these without another piece of the engine, they are dead, right? But this one is cool. This one has to send a Diabell Star from hand or field to the grave to target a face-up card on the field and negate its effects. So that can help protect your deck from stuff like board breakers. If you already open something like Airlifter, you already have combo, and you open the Sinful Spoils package, you could search this. So now we don't care about Evenly. We don't care about Lightning Storm going after the back row, Harpy's Feather Duster, that kind of thing. That could be nice as a going first side deck option. The Quick Play spell, it's cool. There could be matchups where it's just like really, really strong interruption, because it says target a level 7 or higher spellcast you control. That would just be your Diabell Star. All monsters your opponent controls lose attack to, equal to that monster's attack, and then if any of their attack hits 0, they are destroyed. So it's a non-target board wipe of any monster less than 2,500 attack, essentially, which is quite good. Which is quite strong. I like it. Also, I just realized I don't have Heat Soul in the extra, so that may be something you might want to look to potentially try to include, just in case. But not a huge deal. It is what it is. But yeah, a couple of other cool options that you can mess around with. Side deck, you could main them, but I don't know if I want the bricks, so I might save them in the side for when I know I have a matchup that they're pretty good in. But all in all, I do think the deck takes a pretty good step forward. The Sinful Spoil package helps so much, not only being an assisting engine for consistency, but also potentially giving you like other bonuses on top of what the deck does. And SP Little Knight, Typhon being in the extra deck, really nice buffs there as well in utility. I think the deck takes a big step forward. I don't think it's going to be necessarily like best deck in the game like it is in the OCG, but if the deck's tier 2 or high rogue right now and not seeing much respect, I do think it could at least be tier 1.5, kind of one of those decks you gotta know about, you gotta be ready for kind of thing. But yeah, that's a good place to be. So yeah, that's everything I have today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know your thoughts down below on this list. I've only seen a little bit of stuff from the OCG, and this is kind of what they have going on right now with the Sinful Spoils package added in. But let me know any additional thoughts you guys have here that you might adjust to the list, not just for the format right now, but just in general, some stuff to keep in mind when the Age of Overlord does come out and I'm looking at this deck again. I'd love to have some extra pointers there. So throw those down below. But thank you so much for watching as always, guys. I will see you in the next video. I'll be back soon from vacation, but I love you. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace.